Now, I knew that edibles used to have crazy effects on people, and I didn't want to find out firsthand. And she does something that I can only consider to be called reverse sexism. She tells me, hey, I'm a girl. If I can do it, you can. So guys, this is a story about the second time I tried edibles. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Kenny, why the second time? What about the first time? Well, let me give you the backstory. I'm home one day and my cousin calls me up and she says, hey, I got something for us to try. I'm like, what? She says, edibles. I'm like, hell no. Now, I knew that edibles used to have crazy effects on people and I didn't want to find out firsthand. And she does something that I can only consider to be called reverse sexism. She tells me, hey, I'm a girl. If I can do it, you can. And what do we do as men whenever a girl tells us something like that? Yeah, we do it. So we go to the spot and the guy comes up and says, all right, here's what. Take only half of this. See how it affects your body and then you can take the rest. So we decided, you know what? We'll buy one. I'll take half. I'll give her half. I took my half. She took her half. She went and ate hers. I went and ate mine. And would you guess it? Nothing happened. So this is my part 2 video about the second time I did edibles. So listen, the first time I tried it, nothing happened. I felt to myself like I was immune to edibles. Maybe it just didn't have an effect on me. So I felt a certain amount of cockiness, if you want to call it that. I called up my cousin and asked her, what did the edibles do to you? She said, oh my goodness, it knocked me out. I had to go to sleep. It was so strong. And that gave me even more feeling like, well, these edibles don't affect me. So a couple of weeks after, I said, let me try it again. Now, I'm a radio DJ and I had a radio show on a Saturday. So that Saturday, I went to the spot just before I got to the radio station and I bought 2 edibles. The guy gave me the same speech, oh, take half, see how it affects you. I'm like, hey, shut up. This is not going to have no effect on me. So I bought the 2 of them and I take a bite of one and I head off into the radio station. When I get to the radio station, I'm like, guys, I got some edibles. Do you want to try some? And everybody was like, no. Wait for part 3. Part 3, about the second time I tried edibles. So I got to the radio station and I offered everybody some edibles and they were like, no, we're not trying that. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, you guys, that's so lame. Anyhow, so I got into the show and about 2 hours later, I finished the first edible that I tried. Still, I felt nothing. There was no effect. I didn't feel anyhow. It was just like a regular day. So I went off and continued doing the show. 2 hours after that, which would make 4 hours in total, I went to the second bag of edibles and I ate all of that as well. Now, a lot of you may say to yourself, this story is about to get interesting. And it did. Now, this is about the same time that the show was about to end on the radio. And just before I was looking to leave, I started feeling anxious and paranoid. I was saying to myself, oh my goodness, is this having an effect on me? Am I getting high? So my paranoia started kicking in even more and more. Wait for part 4. So part 4 about the second time I did edibles. So I'm at the radio station and my paranoia is getting the best of me. I'm saying to myself, if I go out and drive, I'm going to get arrested because I am high. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to stay at the radio station for a little while longer and sleep this off. But then paranoia is a crazy thing. I started imagining people coming in and breaking into the radio station and me being high there and can't defend myself because I'm not my usual self. So I said, no. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go. The reason why I said this is because I also had a gig that night. I had a club gig that night, so I had to make it to the club. Now, the radio station and the club is about 5 minutes away in terms of the drive. And I said, yo, I got to man up. I got to go and do this gig even though I'm high. So I go outside, I jump in my car, I turn it on, and I kid you not, I'm driving 5 miles per hour to the club. It takes me about 35 minutes to get there. Wait for part 5. So I get to the club and I'm setting myself up and I'm putting everything. It's about time for me to start playing. So I start DJing. At this time, I don't know what I'm playing because I'm still high as whatever. I'm paranoid. I am anxious. I don't know what's going on. I'm just playing music and hoping nobody starts booing or nobody starts acting a fool. All right. So I'm there and this guy in black comes by the DJ booth. And this is freaking me out. I'm like, why is this guy there? So I'm watching him, sensing what he's doing, and he's watching me. and I'm watching him and he's watching me. So I started putting myself in a position to get ready to fight, because in my mind, I think he's a ninja and I got to defend myself and I got to make the first attack because he's a ninja. If I make him attack first, I'll lose the fight. So he keeps watching me and I keep putting my back to the wall and looking in his direction and getting ready to attack. And at this point, he senses it and I think he starts getting confused. So he sees me now and he's getting a bit confused as to why I'm looking at him so aggressively. He turns around to look behind him to think, am I looking at something behind him? Because he's at this point not sure why I'm being that way. Now, the moment he turns around, I see it and I couldn't believe it. The edibles had me so paranoid and anxious that when the guy finally turned around, I saw something written on the back of his shirt. It said security. This guy was the guy supposed to be there to make sure I'm good in the DJ booth and nobody comes and bothers me. And I was about ready to fight the guy. Yeah, that's what happens when I took edibles for the second time. So guys, that's my story about the second time I did edibles.